This one time in tree trimming camp. You're doing it wrong, boy. Well, good morning. Yeah, it stormed its ass off last night, so we're rained out today. So I figured why not share another little story. So this is a time that one time that I fell all the way down. It was about 40 feet. Really, to think about it, I walked up to the tree. It was a dead pecan tree. Pecan, whatever. But yeah, it was a dead tree, and I remember walking up to it and thinking I should not climb this tree. I was still a pup in the game. I was 3 years in, maybe. I was still climbing a 4D saddle. I was on True Blue. I didn't even have a split tail, just one snap, and I climbed on a Blake's hitch. So, and if I would have walked up to this tree today, I would probably put a rope in it and just pull it over. Not even put a cut in it. Oh, it was so dumb. I tried to tell him he was doing it wrong. Damn boy just didn't listen. But if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. And I was a little bit of both. So I put my gear on and I stuck a gaff into the side of it, and my gaff went all the way in, and so did part of the heel of my boot. And I cannot believe that I was so dumb just to keep on going. And I climbed it old school. I went all the way up, tied off from the top of this thing, and walked off on a limb over the house. The limb was about that big around. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so the limb was about that big around over the house. I'm tied off into this dead top. Walk out on this limb and put my safety around the limb, and that's the last thing I remember. So the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital, and I was gonna go home because I told the nurse that I can't afford to be in the hospital. I had to go to work the next day, and she was telling me that I had to go back and lay down. I was like half in and out of it. So the most embarrassing part of that was my nurse was my next door neighbor, and I didn't have not one stitch of clothing on. I was dragging the IV tower, and she had to tell me to look at my wrist. And there's a scar right there. But at that time, when I looked at my wrist, my hand was in line with my arm, but this was like a big horseshoe right here. It broke this bone right here. So now I got a big piece of metal right here in this wrist. That put me out of work for 4 weeks. I was out of work, and they took the stitches out, and I was wearing a brace, and I asked if I could go back to work. And I went back to work, straight back to climbing. And that first tree, I do believe, I remember my butt being puckered up so hard that I didn't fart for another month. I mean, it was pretty bad, but getting over that fear, it was just repetition and of safety. I got over it, and I've had a couple of little spills here and there, but nothing like that. I mean, maybe sliding off of a limb walk a little bit, The only saw I've cut myself with is a hand saw, and right on my knee. So to try to remind myself, I kept the saddle I fell in. It's hung up everywhere we've moved since then, and this was a long time ago. My little string that was holding my back pad on was falling off. But yeah, I'd keep this around as a reminder of not to be complacent, not to do stupid stuff, because I'm not as tough as I used to be. Getting old. I don't know, I got a lot of guys that want me to train them how to climb, but I don't know, I'm kind of a nervous wreck, being in charge of other people's safety. And I could climb with other people that have already been trained. That's not a problem, but maybe that's just something else I need to get over, because I got some good guys that would do a great job as climbers. So that's the end of story time. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all are being safe and being happy. Don't let it get you down. Y'all have a great day. Great hanging out, y'all. You're still doing it wrong, boy.